We're in the end of January, and we might have already gotten our coldest temperatures of the season. About a week ago, a little bit less than a week ago, we actually had temperatures of 38.5. The forecast was for 42, I believe, and for some reason, we're a little bit colder than the forecast. That surprised me. The high-low thermometer that I use is right here. It's on the east side of the building. Most of the cold comes out of the north and northwest. And also we have the driveway as a heat sink, and a lot of the cold wind probably is blocked by these plants and the house. But anyway, 38.5. And now, not our coldest temperature, of course, but it could be the coldest temperature this season. We haven't seen a lot of really cold winters for the past like 8 years. So, what happened to the Annonas? Annonas definitely react to the cold in different ways, depending on which Annona we're talking about. But let's go take a look. So here's our only Soursop tree. Years ago, I had Soursop like in the northwest corner of the property. It was down the hill. It definitely got a lot of those cold northwest winds, and temperatures back then seemed to be colder, the winter temperatures. So what happened is every year it defoliated 4 or 5 times, never got any fruit, just a pretty plant with always new leaves in the winter. So anyway, I really don't grow landscape plants. I like to grow fruit, so that tree came out. But then I decided to try it again. This is on the east side of the house, so theoretically it's a warmer place. The cold north winds and northwest winds are partially blocked by the house, and so anyway, this is where I chose to plant the Soursop. Now, with our cold temperatures 6 nights ago, we had a lot of leaf loss. And actually, if you look on the ground here, those are all leaves from this plant. And this right here is what cold damage looks like on the Soursop. It's mottled. There's some brown there where the tissue was damaged, and some leaves fared better than others. So anyway, one interesting thing to me was that the lower part of this tree here has a lot of leaves. This midsection does not. This is where most of the leaves on the ground came from, right in here. And then there's a part in the back that looks pretty gorgeous. There's very little damage to any of the leaves in that very vertical part. Now, I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I know that this is the older part of the plant. It got partially tipped over by wind, and then the very vertical branches there were actually a result of this being tipped. It was, it gave the opportunity for some sprout outs to really get a lot of energy of the plant. So possibly because that's younger growth, possibly because it gets more resources of the plant. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but interesting to see. And while I was looking at this plant, I found something also very interesting, and that's this right here. This is our very first Soursop fruit. Of course, it's a long way from being like its full size, but at least there's a promise of possible fruit down the road. And I think we've got one other one, yeah, right here. This one's really teeny. So I'm not sure if either of these fruit are going to develop, but if all goes well, maybe we will have one fruit later on in the year. So this is one of our sugar apple trees. It's been in the ground for about 15 years. It happens to be a red sugar apple, otherwise known as Kampong Mauve. As you can probably tell, it has also gotten damaged by the cold. There's a lot of brown here on these leaves. They're mottled. There are a few leaves that look like they didn't get damaged too much, but then again, there are a lot of leaves on the ground. You know, it's pretty normal in South Florida for the sugar apple trees to lose their leaves, or at least lose a lot of their leaves. They go sort of dormant for a short period in the winter, and then the new growth that they produce after they've, recovered from the cold, that's the growth that actually supports the fruit of the next crop. So this is a great opportunity to trim your sugar apple trees. This one had gotten pretty tall, a little bit hard to pick, so we have just trimmed this one back to, I guess it's about 7 feet. We've also trimmed every sugar apple in the grove. So it's a good opportunity to make it easier to pick your fruit, and also to make the tree look better once it has new leaves. This is one of our atemoya trees. Now, atemoya is a cross between sugar apple and cherimoya, and like our sugar apple, it has a lot of mottled leaves from the cold. This particular variety is 97-1. It's a small fruit, very tasty, not quite as popular as some of our other varieties of atemoya. So there's actually two things going on with this tree. One is that it was sprawling all over the place. Even though we trimmed it last season, it just grows quickly and rather horizontally. And then when the fruit are on it, it gets even droopier and such. So wanted to make this a more compact tree, so we cut it back. But also, I want to graft another variety of atemoya onto this. So if you want to change a variety or add a variety to your tree, that's another reason to cut it back at this time of year. We've already cut one very major branch in the center out, but this particular branch I want to cut back also. So that will give me a couple of really central areas to graft onto. So I'm just going to finish off the pruning now. So after this tree sprouts out from these two areas, plus this major central area, I will graft another variety onto it. So there's two things going on with this tree. Taking the opportunity to cut it back for not only the look of the tree, but ease of picking next year, and cutting back to graft another variety onto it. So here's our main custard apple tree. Custard apple is one of those fruit that people love, and we have not had a lot of fruit to sell in the past. What's interesting is after that cold snap, I see very little cold damage on this tree. We have a little bit of mottling on some of the leaves, but basically there's a lot of green all over the tree. Very healthy looking. And that's a good thing, because we have fruit. So this section has a lot of fruit on it. We bagged the fruit when it was about this big. It was really tough to find all those little fruit, and we hope we got the fruit bagged before the Annona seed borer could lay its eggs in that little tiny fruit. We'll find that out once this fruit develops. Hopefully we'll have like some nice fruit to sell in a few months. But of course, when a tree is looking this gorgeous and has fruit on it, we're just going to leave it alone. We're not trimming until after the fruit comes off.